You know, I think what we will do here, since you're with us here bright and early, Mayor, it's just my absolute honor to introduce you to, to do some opening remarks. I want to make sure that we've got our interpreter all set up so that we can interpret what you say. So we have simultaneous interpretation in Spanish available during this meeting. So I'd like to ask our interpreter, Carlos, to introduce himself and walk through how to access our interpretation services for today's meeting. Carlos?
Thank you so much. As was just stated, we do have simultaneous interpretation into Spanish. I will now give those instructions to our Spanish speakers. Buenas tardes y bienvenidos y bienvenidas a esta reunión comunitaria virtual para la zona centro de San Diego respecto del Plan Regional de Transporte 2021. Vamos a contar con el servicio de interpretación simultánea. Para hacer uso del mismo, por favor desplácese a la parte inferior de la pantalla de Zoom, donde aparecen sus controles, haga clic en el icono de interpretación, parece un globo terráqueo, y seleccione español o Spanish. Si está utilizando la aplicación móvil de Zoom en celular, tableta, etc., presione primero los puntos suspensivos, luego interpretación y luego el idioma. Por último, si no desea escuchar el audio original en inglés en el fondo, por favor seleccione Mute Original Audio o silenciar audio original. Gracias and thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. I'm going to provide just a little bit more context before I turn it over to the mayor here. And just a couple of things. First of all, if you're logged into this meeting with Zoom, we're going to keep you muted unless you wish to speak, and that will happen during the public comment period. So that's about 45 minutes from now after the presentation. And I just want to start off by saying we understand there are so many challenges when it comes to how we get around San Diego, and particularly in central San Diego. We have a lot of things that are really working for us. We have the San Diego trolley that I think we all love, the red trolley, which connects the border to downtown. It goes east to San Diego State University and La Mesa, and east through southeastern San Diego through Lemon Grove. And in just a few months, we will open the newest extension to the trolley, taking it all the way up to UC San Diego, the Veterans Hospital, and the University Town Center. And I think hopefully many of you saw on the news that we did the first kind of trial run of that trolley, and the trials are going to continue over the next few months, and then we will open for business later this year. We have the Interstate 15 managed lanes, which allow for rapid bus and carpools and allow those who want to pay to use the lanes to do so. We have multiple new bikeways that are being built right here in downtown on 4th and 5th Avenue. We've got the Landis and Meade projects in North Park, the Rose Creek Bridge that connects through Mission Bay, and the city of San Diego is building a number of bikeways, including a new bikeway on 30th Street. There are so many amazing things about this part of the region too. We've got Mission Bay and San Diego Bay and Balboa Park, Mission Trails Park, multiple neighborhood parks, and the San Diego River and Choyas Creek, and the list goes on and on. We're home base to the U.S. Navy's Pacific Fleet, world-renowned educational institutions, premier healthcare and hospitals, a hub for biotech, and that goes on and on. But not everyone has access to all of these amenities, and our public transit service is often slow. We don't have real transportation alternatives. We don't have a lot of affordable housing. As we're coming out of the pandemic, we're also seeing more and more traffic congestion. And these are all important considerations when it comes to reimagining the transportation system for the central San Diego communities. Your input tonight is imperative as we develop and refine our regional plan. And so we're inviting comments now through August 6th. So with that sort of introduction, I am just so honored to be able to turn this over to the Vice Chair of our SANDAG Board of Directors, the Mayor of the City of San Diego, Mr. Todd Gloria. He is not new to SANDAG. When he was serving on the City Council prior to his work on the State Assembly, he was also very involved in SANDAG and sat on the SANDAG board and chaired our Transportation Committee. So we're just so happy to have you here with us, Mayor. You've really been a champion for the regional plan and the 5 big moves. And with that, I'll turn it over to you to provide some opening remarks.
Colleen, thank you so much. And thank you to every San Diegan who has joined us this evening to explore the draft 2021 regional plan and what it means for your community, your neighborhood, our city, and our region. Colleen, I'm delighted to be here with you. Like you, I love transportation. I love infrastructure. I'm guessing that's the kind of crew who's going to sign up for a Zoom on a Wednesday evening. And I'm glad that we can all sort of nerd out on infrastructure tonight. As Colleen mentioned, I'm not only the mayor of the city of San Diego, but I have the honor of serving as the vice chair of the board of directors at SANDAG, which, as you all know, is the agency tasked with creating and helping to enact our regional plan. I sought out this role at SANDAG of vice chair because I knew the regional plan was coming forward. I know that it's critical to our city's future, and I wanted to make sure our city had an active participatory role in its development and its adoption. My presence here this evening is intended to indicate to you all that this is a really important conversation. You don't necessarily need convincing because you're already here. My ask of you at this point is to make sure that you spread the word in your communities and in your neighborhoods about the regional plan. As I was lurking in the participants list, I see a lot of longtime, really treasured members of our community, people who have long stood up for their neighborhood. Russ Connolly, I'm talking about you, Barry Pollard. I see Georgette Gomez. I see some real folks who have contributed so much to our community. You all know that this plan is important. So do me a great favor. Please spread this information out to your community. Encourage your neighbors and your fellow community members to review the plan and to comment on it. I want you to know that I'm taking a close look at this plan. And I'm doing that because I see this plan as being truly critical to our city meeting our ambitious climate action plan goals, as well as our housing goals. And to make sure, as Colleen was mentioning, that we can have a more equitable transportation system that really expands. Sometimes people say options. I'd prefer to say expands opportunities for San Diegans. This is really what infrastructure is about. It's about whether or not you can get to your job fast enough, if you can get to that school quickly enough and safely enough, if you can expand your job opportunities because it's no longer out of reach because it's physically too difficult to get there, that you can't get home in time to pick up your kids from school before they get out. This is the opportunities that this plan can present our community if we get it right. And in my judgment, we only get it right with your input and with your feedback. The sort of tagline for this plan is faster, fairer, and cleaner than ever before. Faster in that we're optimizing traffic flow and making transit and other forms of transportation more convenient and safer. Fair by improving social equity with expanded transportation options and job opportunities, particularly for historically underserved communities. And cleaner in that it'll help us meet our state and federal requirements related to climate change and clean air by investing in green transportation options and helping implement local climate action plans like our own here in the city of San Diego. The plan has now been released for public review, and we want to hear from you. I want to illustrate what a regional plan can do, because I recognize a plan sounds amorphous, sounds like something that's maybe a nice to have. How does it really play out in our actual life? And there's a great example right in our very own city of what previous regional plans have been able to do. Starting this fall, the Blue Line trolley extension will go from Old Town all the way up to UC San Diego and the Golden Triangle Job Center. That means a one-seat ride from the US-Mexican border all the way up to that good education, those good jobs, and the healthcare opportunities that are up there. This means that, unlike my experience on the way here, I was in downtown coming home to Mission Hills, and the pandemic is clearly over because I was sitting in traffic on the 5. Rather than having to sit in traffic on the 5, you can get on the trolley and get where you need to go, including all those big opportunities, jobs, healthcare, and education that I mentioned. Projects like the Blue Line extension don't just happen. They have to plan for it, you have to fund it, and then you can build it. And that's what the regional plan for 2021 is all about. The Mid-Coast Trolley is just one example of what can be in this plan if we want to do it. And I want to encourage folks to go even deeper than just the actual projects, but thinking about what it means to have a plan that looks out to the year 2050 and really say, what can we do, again, faster, fairer, cleaner, but also about creating good paying jobs for San Diegans, local jobs that people can raise families on. We all know it's expensive to live in San Diego. If we're going to spend billions and billions of dollars on an infrastructure system, let's make sure it's creating career pathways and opportunities to build generational wealth. I think this is the added opportunities of this regional plan, in addition to reducing carbon emissions, improving local roads. Everyone hates potholes, right? And addressing traffic on our freeways. It's a blueprint, it's a plan, it's a draft at the moment. So We're here tonight to educate you about the plan as it's currently constituted, solicit your feedback, recognizing this is not one and done. This is a part of an iterative process where you can come back again and again, hopefully bring more people to the table to give us your feedback. As your mayor and as the vice chair of SANDAG, I'm going to be all ears. My team is all ears on this. This is important stuff. This is what will help craft what our city and our region will look like in the year 2050. That's big stuff, right? So how cool would it be for us as a community members to come together and really craft that in what we believe is best for our community? Seeing the names in the participant tab, I know that you all know how important this is. I just ask you to be very involved in this process and help to make sure that we get it right. With all those comments, Colleen, I hope it gave you a chance to drink a little bit of water because I know you have a presentation to make, but I'm entrusting you in Colleen's good hands. She's incredible. The team at SANDAG is incredible. As she mentioned, I've worked with this organization for 12, 13 years now, and the team that is there now, I think, is definitely headed in the right direction. All that they need is the marching orders from all of you. So listen to what Colleen has to say, and let's get that input going. So Colleen, I'll throw it back to you with great appreciation for all your public service. I'm definitely grateful for what you do for the city and for our region.
Thank you so much, Mayor, Vice Chair. Truly wonderful opening remarks. So I'm Colleen Clemenson. I'm the Director of Regional Planning at SANDAG. I didn't want to introduce myself before I introduced the mayor because he's so important. So I wanted to follow you. Tonight, we're going to be going through a lot of the details of this draft plan. It's a big plan and we are not going to get through everything tonight. So we will be touching the surface on a lot of it. If you want to learn more, please feel free to pull out your smartphone and scan the QR code shown here with your camera. This will take you to our website where you can find all sorts of details about the draft plan, all the appendices, how you can get more involved and more. So during or after this meeting, you can submit public comments in several ways. You can submit them through our website, sandag.org/regional plan comments. We also accept comments by email, phone, fax, and mail. Fax, even, we do have a fax machine here. Remember, this is your chance to help transform our transportation in this region. This is truly a once in a generation type of opportunity. And as a planner, a career planner for more than 20 years, I will tell you, I am just so excited to be part of this. It's, again, like once in a career opportunity to do something like this. So to kick off this evening's presentation, we're going to go to a short video. You're going to get to see Mayor Gloria again, as well as the chair of our SANDAG Board of Directors, Mayor Catherine Blakespear, who's the mayor of the city of Encinitas, and our second vice chair and National City Mayor, Alejandra Sotelo Solis. The video gives you an opportunity to hear from them and from a number of the SANDAG staff team here about what the plan encompasses and how it can impact our region.
Welcome to the 2021 Regional Plan Virtual Open House. The draft 2021 Regional Plan sets the stage for an exciting new era in San Diego County. And now that the draft plan is complete, we want your input as we seize this once-in-a-generation opportunity to improve the lives of every resident in the San Diego region.
What a journey it has been to get to this point. Years of planning, studying, listening, and learning. Now, we have an opportunity to enact a transformative vision that will make it easier to move around our region, improve our quality of life, add jobs, grow our economy, protect our environment, and create equitable access to opportunity. This is a moment for all of us.
This is a moment for our San Diego region. This is your moment. Our future is brightest when we work together to achieve a shared vision. So we want to hear from you. Your voice matters.
The 2021 Regional Plan is a blueprint for land use and transportation planning in the San Diego region through 2050, charting a course for the future of how we get around. At SANDAG, we have been developing this plan for years, using advanced data, working with industry leaders, and incorporating your feedback all along the way.
Our region is growing, and our transportation system needs to keep up. This plan will help us build a system that truly works for everyone. a system that is faster, fairer, and cleaner.
We're in. Are you?
The San Diego region is a beautiful place, full of vibrant communities, diverse cultures, and exciting possibilities. Our booming industries like biotech, life sciences, defense, and more have brought new jobs and opportunities to our region, attracting a growing workforce. But as the region continues to mature, our current transportation infrastructure is straining. Congestion is worsening, affecting our quality of life. Greenhouse gas emissions are increasing, impacting the health of our region and its people. And prior decisions have left some of our communities under-resourced and underserved. Now is our time to address these problems head-on and improve all of our communities for generations to come.
This plan is the product of thousands of conversations with people across the San Diego region. We interviewed residents and held public meetings. We gathered data to understand where people are living, where they're working, and identify patterns in how they're traveling. We didn't just rely on assumptions from past plans. We built a new regional plan from the ground up, developing an integrated system of projects, programs, and policies to help you get where you need to go.
These community-driven conversations help us gain a better understanding of your daily struggles to make it to work on time, drop kids off at school, go to the grocery store, and get errands done. We listened to your transportation priorities and areas of concern. We analyzed our region's current transportation habits. And we worked with experts to integrate the latest trends in transportation technology. Every piece of public input helped shape this new transportation vision.
The 2021 Regional Plan is an investment in the future of our region. It lays out a strategy for smart regional growth and a more efficient transportation network. Whether you drive, take transit, walk, or ride a bike, the plan is designed to make your commute safer and easier.
The San Diego region's environment and rich biodiversity are vital resources to protect. The plan advances greener, more sustainable transportation choices so we can preserve the beaches, coastlines, open spaces, and sensitive habitats that are so important to our region. Together, we have the opportunity to create healthy communities today, tomorrow, and for future generations.
The 2021 Regional Plan aims to save you time and get you where you need to go faster. Complete quarters may make our infrastructure more efficient with dedicated safe spaces for everyone, from transit riders to drivers to freight vehicles to people who walk and bike. And by using the most up-to-date technology, we can manage traffic on our highways and major roads in real time.
Our transportation vision makes it easier to connect to every part of the region, and for the first time, gives you realistic and convenient alternatives to driving. For example, the new bus rapid transit and passenger rail enhancements will provide fast and easy connections to shopping, outdoor recreation, medical offices, employment centers, and the region's schools and universities, expanding equity and access to opportunity so you can focus on the things that matter most.
Fast and reliable transportation does more than keep our region moving, it connects us to the world. The 2021 Regional Plan will help products made in our region continue to access the global marketplace while ensuring vital freight and goods can also make their way back to us. This is a plan to replace our aging infrastructure with 21st century solutions and help our economy and job market stay strong.
Improving the safety of our transportation system is another goal of the 2021 Regional Plan. The proposed system will help improve the safety of all travelers. This includes a commitment to Vision Zero, which aims to eliminate traffic deaths and severe injuries on our streets. The plan will bring us closer to that reality by implementing safe street designs, slower speeds in some areas, and policies to protect people who bike, walk, drive, and more.
No day is the same, and you need flexibility in your commute. On-demand services, or flexible fleets, will offer fast and affordable solutions to make that critical first and last mile connection between your home, transit, or your final destination. Many of us already use these services today when we hop on a scooter or hail a ride with our smartphones. And as technology evolves, the regional plan is designed to integrate new flexible fleets into our transportation system, creating a seamless connection from start to finish. It's about creating a future where transportation choices are there when you need them.
Managing the regional transportation network with the latest in transportation technology, what we call the Next Operating System or Next OS, can make your commute more efficient. Next OS can help you make informed travel choices by providing up-to-the-minute information about nearby options, travel times, and pricing, so you can choose what works best for you.
SANDAG is committed to creating a transportation system that works, no matter where you live, how you travel, or where you're going.
The 2021 Regional Plan will provide us with a more convenient, safe, and resilient transportation system.
It's a plan to help you save time and give you more transportation choices.
A plan to protect our local environment and preserve our open space and natural resources, all while reducing pollution and climate warming emissions.
It's a plan to bring greater equity to our transportation system and invest in our underserved communities. The 2021 Regional Plan is a vision for our future.
A future that is faster, fairer, and cleaner than ever before.
Your participation and input is critical. Thank you for being here today and helping us reimagine the future of transportation in the San Diego region for everyone. This is our moment. Let's build it together.
So this is our moment. For those of you who don't know, SANDAG is the region's government planning agency. We're led by a board of directors that's made up of elected officials from each of the region's 18 cities and the county of San Diego. And we plan and build a wide variety of projects and provide a number of programs all over the region. And we've already mentioned the extension of the trolley up to UC San Diego. So that is a SANDAG project. If you've seen the work being done up north along Interstate 5, we're doing a lot of double tracking where the coaster runs, as well as making improvements on Interstate 5 to have HOV lanes. We build bike projects. So we do a lot of projects, and then we hand those over to, say, the Metropolitan Transit System to operate the trolley. And when we build bike projects, we hand them over to the local cities to maintain those. So we do a lot of big projects throughout the region. And that's why it's important when we think about especially regional projects that cover multiple jurisdictions. As the mayor shared, one of the key responsibilities of SANDAG is to develop a regional plan, and we update that every 4 years. This time, we got an additional 2 years from the state of California so that we could really do something transformational and use a data-driven process to come up with this plan. The regional plan, it's also known as the Regional Transportation Plan. This is the plan that incorporates the 5 big moves that you've all heard about. It really is a long-term blueprint for how the region will grow and how we'll get around. The plan considers a lot of important issues, how we travel to work, school, shopping, and recreation. And it also looks at what are the best land uses around planned or existing public transit. And how do we really plan for and maintain our sensitive habitat and open spaces. It reaches from the international border in the south to the Anza-Borrego Desert in our eastern region, and all the way to Orange and Riverside counties to the north. It encompasses the needs of our tribal nations, 17 tribal nations in the San Diego region. What makes this plan unique is from the dozens of plans that have come before it is our approach. So instead of being just a collection of projects, we're looking at an overall system. And this is really enabled by things that have happened in our society very quickly within the last 20 years with the advent of computers and smartphones, and the Internet of Things has truly transformed how we can think about transportation. Along with extensive community engagement, data analysis, and planning, we presented a vision to the SANDAG Board of Directors and our San Diego community in August of 2020. Now we've turned that vision into the draft 2021 regional plan, which really details how we can bring this vision to life. We've heard from you throughout this process. We've been focused on gathering community input, even during the pandemic, with residents and businesses, and conducting focus groups and hearing from very diverse voices from throughout the region. We've heard that the transit today that we have is not convenient. It's not fast or frequent enough, and it doesn't connect people to where they need to go. We've heard that people don't feel safe on our streets, especially when walking or biking. Tragically, in the United States, more than 25,000 people were killed while walking or biking between 2016 and 2019. Traffic. In our region, most people drive alone to work because they lack an alternative to driving. And this worsens traffic on our roadways, contributes to greenhouse gas emissions, and is a very expensive way to get around. We've also heard from many of you how concerned we are about the environment, and driving is one of the primary contributors to greenhouse gas emissions, leading to climate change as the Earth's temperatures rise. We're already seeing those impacts with sea level rising. Wildfires, heat waves, and droughts are more common. These issues are not new, and they're reflected in the three biggest challenges that we are trying to overcome with this plan as a region. We must adopt a regional plan that seriously addresses traffic congestion, a plan that addresses social equity in a meaningful way, where we truly provide opportunities for all to benefit from what our region has to offer, to have access to higher education, access to quality jobs and healthcare. I think this is exactly what Mayor Gloria was talking about. Building a system that brings communities together, not separating them. Transportation projects of the past have separated communities. This plan is about bringing people together. Also a plan that meets our state and federal mandates. We have to do this. If we want to continue to receive state and federal funding to support our existing and future transportation system, we need to meet the state and federal mandates. There are a variety of state and federal laws related to the environment and environmental justice, but the big takeaway is this. By the year 2035, this plan needs to show how the San Diego region can reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And there's some numbers associated with this. We have to show that we can reduce greenhouse gas emissions per person by 19% compared to what greenhouse gases per person levels were in 2005. To do this, we need a transportation system that provides more and better alternatives to driving and that really, truly aligns with the planned land uses in our region. With all this in mind, we outlined a vision for a complete transportation system that serves the entire region. As the mayor said, faster, fairer, and cleaner travel choices that can help our communities be resilient to a changing climate. We want to create a system that connects everyone to the people and places they care about, and to be able to do that quickly, safely, conveniently. We want to expand access across the region, opening up transportation choices to every person in our community to advance our social equity goals. And we want to preserve our quality of life and the environment we all love. By making air cleaner and reducing emissions, we can imagine a brighter future for this entire region. The 5 big moves are strategies for addressing our challenges. Together, they are the system that makes up the 2021 regional plan. The 5 big moves are complete corridors, transit leap, mobility hubs, flexible fleets, and the next operating system. And I hope most of you here with us tonight know these 5 big moves. Complete corridors are roadways that accommodate all modes of transportation with technology to manage how they are actually used. That means having real-time information and being able to shift how different lanes are used at different times of the day and how they're actually priced. Transit Leap is that fast and frequent transit service that benefits from technology, making it more reliable and more convenient. We're talking about transit service that is going 80, 90, 100 miles an hour to truly compete with the automobile. Flexible fleet services are a full spectrum of what we call app-enabled. So we're really talking about using our phone, app-enabled mobility services for all different types of trips, from shared bike fleets or shared scooters, ride sharing. And for those of you familiar with the vehicle downtown that has been known as Fred, these are the kinds of things that we're talking about when we talk about flexible fleets. Mobility hubs, these are really the areas of higher density activity in our communities where we propose to bring multiple modes of transportation together seamlessly. So it's easy to get in and out of mobility hubs and to and from high-speed transit service. And at the heart of the 5 big moves is the next operating system platform. This is the technology which uses data to manage the system and services. This is what allows us to get all real-time information on our phones, to know what our travel options are, to be able to pay for it, and do all of that just at our fingertips. The regional plan brings the 5 big moves together to create a complete transportation system. We're planning to the year 2050. So imagine how much will change in 30 years. By 2050, 400,000 more people may be calling our San Diego region home. This will require more housing and lead to more job growth in the region. I mentioned earlier that we approach this plan differently than we ever have before. Past plans have been a refresh of a list of transportation projects that have been on a list since the late 1990s. This time we looked at data on where people live and work. And for the first time, we actually had access to cell phone data to know where people were traveling. The map on the left shows where people live in the region. The darker the color, the more people that live in that area. The map in the middle shows the areas that have the highest concentration of jobs in the region. We call these employment centers. In the map on the far right, the purple lines show all the people from across the region traveling to their jobs in those employment centers. The darker the line, the more the trips that are being made in that connection. And those are some of the best trips for higher speed commuter rail service. Work trips are not the only trips that people need to make, although they typically are the longer trips. We also use data to understand how and where connections are being made for other types of trips. These are the things when you're going to the grocery store, or you're going to the gym, or you're taking your kids to school. And all of this data helped us to identify the right transportation solutions to meet different needs of communities throughout the region, depending upon the type of trip being made. Different types of transportation work for different types of transportation trips. Now, what does this reimagined transportation system look like? I'll describe the regional system. So we're really talking about not just a list of projects. It's not about just widening this roadway or adding this transit lane. It's how it all comes together as a system. You're going to hear from Jennifer Williamson on the details once I kind of go through this sort of layering of this overall system. So we start with the mobility hub. So this is a graphic if you're looking at the San Diego region from the south, looking up north and out to the east. These are the mobility hubs that are showing up. These are the areas where most people in the region live and work today. And this is where we see more people and jobs in the future. It's anticipated in these areas, it will be much easier to get around without a car, walking, biking, access to flexible fleets. And then higher speed transit can take you to and from mobility hubs. Local bus service in these areas will be much more frequent. The complete corridors provide a fully connected system of managed lanes. So what we're talking about is on all of the highways, having the managed lanes like we have on Interstate 15, and then they connect to one another. These lanes would have options for people to use higher speed transit, to ride share, or pay a fee to use them when driving alone. The next generation rapid buses would make use of these managed lanes as fast, convenient travel options in many communities. Next, we have our light rail system. So this is really the San Diego Trolley and the Sprinter, which is up in North County. We envision more frequent trains and longer hours of service. Part of what we're proposing is to grade separate. When we've got the trolley competing with cars and roadways, we need to separate those two so that we can really speed up the transit service. Finally, the commuter rail system. Imagine fast trains traveling below ground in tunnels or above ground so they can provide quick connections to jobs and popular destinations throughout the region. And I'm sure many of you have experienced transportation like this in other parts of the world, and this would be truly amazing for our region. Overall, that system that I showed you makes more than 10,000 connections. 10,000 connections for our region. This plan delivers on the goals I described earlier. Most importantly, we meet all our state and federal requirements, including reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So how does this plan address the worst traffic during commute hours? Imagine being able to easily hop on a bus or a train and get to work as fast or faster than driving. Our computer models show that by 2035, driving alone would decrease and more people would use transit to get to work. And by 2050, this trend continues, and these changes help us to ease traffic on roadways. Right now, owning a car is very expensive, and transit just takes too long and doesn't work for most people. In this plan, we look closely at transit access for people in particular with low incomes, people of color, and seniors. And for these residents, the percent of people living within a half-mile of transit increases threefold. Living close to fast and frequent transit service makes it a convenient option for traveling around our region. So with that, I am so pleased to turn this over to my colleague, outstanding transit planner, principal planner, Jennifer Williamson, to take us through more of the detail, in particular in what we consider to be the central part of the San Diego region. So Jennifer.
Great. Thank you, Colleen, and welcome everyone. It's often very hard to follow Colleen. She has so much energy, but I'm going to try. So good evening, I'm Jennifer Williamson, and as Colleen said, I am the Transit Program Manager here at SANDAG. I'm also the co-lead of the Transit Leap Move of the 2021 plan, so I'd love to hear from you about all the transit tonight. I'm here to talk to you about the central portion of our region and what we have planned in the different years of our regional plan. The area I want to talk to you about tonight is bounded to the north by State Route 56, the east by Interstate 15, and State Route 54 to the south, and the ocean over to the west. So before I get started, I just want to say this region is really familiar to me and very important to me. I'm a native San Diegan, grew up in City Heights, went to Crawford High School, undergrad and grad school at SDSU, and I continue to live in the area today. So not only is this important to me, but it's also very familiar to me. So let's get started looking at our existing system. So with our existing system, for complete corridors, we really only have the Interstate 15 managed lanes as part of the existing system. To remind everyone what that looks like, it has 6 regular lanes. That's where everybody can travel in each direction, and then a barrier separated system of managed lanes. The managed lanes host carpools, shared rides, and transit. The Interstate 15 also has one of the most comprehensive set of direct access ramps. Those are where you can get off from the middle of the managed lanes to access our arterial system that allows cars and transit to exit from the managed lanes into our streets. For Transit Leap, we have the Coaster. The Coaster is the only passenger rail system in the region today. The Coaster operates between Oceanside and downtown San Diego. There's a lot of work going on underway, and Colleen told you a little bit about repairing the Del Mar Bluffs and double tracking our system. The new Midcoast trolley line extension in this area and portions of the blue and orange lines. All the rapid buses operate in or through this area. Rapid Bus 235 operates along Interstate 15. Rapid Bus 237 provides connection between the Miramar Transit Center and UCSD via UTC. Superloop provides a host of connections and access for students, faculty, and employees to access UCSD. The Mid-City Rapid and South Bay Rapid also operate in or through this area. Finally, you'll see our bike lines, and those are the little squiggly blue lines on the map here. And currently we have developed the Coastal Rail Trail, the Carlton Oaks Bike Trail, the Inland Rail Trail, and portions of new routes coming through North Park and our mid-city areas. Now let's look at the early phases of the plan. As you can see, we have a host of mobility hubs and training identified in this part of the region. What I mean by mobility hubs and training is that they might have some elements of mobility hubs, but they don't really have all of them. I'd like to point out 2 of them in this area currently. That includes downtown San Diego, North Park, and South Park, that we call our urban mobility hub, and that's that big section in the middle of the plan. Those already feature a number of mobility options, including scooters, micromobility, and transit. This area is also home to some of the densest land uses in the region. The other growing mobility hub is in University City. That's where Midcoast is going to end. This will provide access to local bus, Superloop, and a host of micromobility options. Now let's look at some of our complete corridors. There's not honestly a lot that you're going to see that changes in the map, but there are a lot of projects happening in this phase of the plan behind the scenes, and that includes smart street and intersection projects on all of our major streets and corridors. The goal for this phase of the project is to provide the backbone technology and infrastructure that will support projects as they come online. We do, however, have a host of bike projects that you'll see in the plan, and a lot of these are currently under construction, so we're very excited. We have the Central Avenue Bike Project located in the center of the region, the Pershing Drive Bike Project. We're connecting North Park and Midway. We have the Bayshore Bikeway, and up at the top of the map, is the State Route 54 Bikeway. Now let's look at transit. As I indicated before, the coaster has bluff improvements happening in Del Mar, and in this phase of the plan, we'll be increasing the frequency throughout the line to 20 minutes all day. There are 3 new rapid bus lines in this route in this phase. The Rapid 12 that connects Spring Valley to downtown via our southwest communities. You'll see that located there in the kind of teal color. And then Rapid 10, which is a route that operates between La Mesa to Ocean Beach via Mid-City, Hillcrest, and the Central Mobility Hub. And that's an existing service today that will upgrade and make much faster with more frequency. It's important to note too that there are significant increases in frequency and span of service for all local bus and trolleys during this phase of the plan. Local buses would operate at 10 minutes throughout the day, and the spans of service would increase to up to 20 hours a day. And this is really important because when we talk to people, they tell us that the regular system doesn't work very well for them and they need more service. Now let's go to the middle years of our plan. Mobility hubs continue to grow and become more defined as projects come online and the intensification of land uses around the stations increase. Complete corridors, let's actually look at the complete corridors. And those are the green and blue lines on this map. And the green lines represent our longer interstate north-south corridor. So essentially Interstate 5 and Interstate 805. Let's start with Interstate 5 at State Route 905 to Pacific Highway, that portion of the freeway there. I realize that this is a little bit outside of our area, but it'll help you understand how the system will work. So in this portion of the freeway, the configuration is 6 regular lanes where anybody can drive and 2 managed lanes, similar to what we talked about on I-15. Between Interstate 805 and State Route 56 on Interstate 5, the primary configuration is 6 regular lanes, again, anybody can drive, and 4 managed lanes for carpools, transit, and priority vehicles. For the State Route bypass on SR 56, this expands out to 12 lanes to provide for that capacity in that bypass area. For Interstate 805, the entire corridor becomes 6 regular lanes and 4 managed lanes. So that'll be really great because it'll provide a long stretch of priority access on those managed lanes. For Interstate 15, we'll be looking to complete the system of managed lanes that currently stop just south of State Route 52, extend those through Kearny Mesa and connect them to Interstate 8. This will be configured as 6 regular lanes plus 2 managed lanes. State Route 163, which is the blue line located in the center of the map between State Route 52 and Interstate 805, 6 regular lanes and 2 managed lanes. For State Route 94, that's the blue line through the bottom portion of your map there, we have 6 regular lanes and 3 managed lanes. You might be asking yourself, how can you do 3 managed lanes? So we'll be doing reversible lanes on that portion of the freeway. Managed lane connectors at all of these major intersections will allow transit and vehicles to connect and remain on the managed lane system. This reduces friction in the main lanes and provides a faster and more direct path of travel. There are 3 direct access ramps that come on in this phase. Direct access ramps, remember, those connect from the managed lanes directly to major arterials. We have one at Voigt Drive and Interstate 5 and Interstate 15 and Claremont Mesa Boulevard. So I lied there, we only have 2. For active transportation, we have the bike projects. And remember that a lot of the bike lanes will use the infrastructure that's developed in the construction of our managed lanes and freeway corridors, as well as our transit leap projects. During this phase of our plan, we'll be completing the coastal rail trail towards the goal of completing the entire 44-mile bikeway from Oceanside to downtown San Diego by 2050. That'll be a great ride. We'll also be completing all of the bikeway connections to our future central mobility hub, and we'll be completing sections of the San Diego River Trail in the city of San Diego. And again, the bike projects on this map are represented in the smaller lines. Okay, let's talk about transit. It's my favorite part of the plan. So there are over 20 new next generation rapid routes that come on during this phase of the plan. And in the central region, we have our most density. We have rapid routes just about everywhere. I'm going to go into detail on a few of them, but certainly if you have questions after we're done here on any of the individual routes, I'm happy to answer those. So let's talk about a connection from the border to downtown San Diego. Again, I realize that's a little bit outside of our plan, but that's a major connection that will help folks to get from the southern portion of our county to the central portion of our county. And we know that that's a very important new route that we're looking at. Now let's look at the center of the region. We have Rapid 295 that will operate from the South Bay to Sorrento Valley, stopping in La Mesa and Kearny Mesa. And really what that does, it connects South County all the way up to our important job center in Sorrento Valley. This route will utilize all of the systems, the managed lanes on State Route 125, the connectors, and our smart street technologies. Finally, for our rapid system, and not finally for all of it, but what I'm going to talk about today, we have the Rapid 41, which will operate between Fashion Valley and UCSD, serving communities in Linda Vista and Claremont. The existing Route 41 is one of our most productive routes in the region, and the rapid improvements will speed the route and provide a much more direct path of travel. So the big ticket item during this phase of the plan is the development of our first commuter rail operating train from the border to Sorrento Valley. This route will have stations at all of our major job and residential centers, providing direct connections from the north and south through the center of the region. And you'll see that in the bright purple line there. And really here we call it the jobs train. It's going to connect people to Kearny Mesa, UTC, and Sorrento Valley. So all of our major employment centers. Now let's talk about the later years of the plan. Mobility hubs. We really see the mobility hubs start to pop in this portion of the plan. Flexible fleet incentives have led to a robust network of micromobility aimed to connect mobility hubs to transit, employment centers, and residential areas. Short trip making via e-bikes, walking, scooters is now a reality. You don't have to get into your car and drive alone anymore. For complete corridors, at the south edge of the map, you'll see State Route 54 between State Route 125 and Interstate 8 connector comes in, and 2 managed lanes are added. State Route 125 also adds 2 managed lanes. In a minute, I'll show you 2 next generation rapid routes that also come on during this time that will utilize the State Route 54 managed lanes. On Interstate 8 between State Route 163 and Interstate 5, the managed lanes are continued with 2 additional lanes added. For the bike lanes, really the focus here is completing additional connections in the regional bike network, such as new routes to the US-Mexico border. Completing the key east-west connections such as Mira Mesa, Kearny Mesa, and State Route 56. Again, providing access to our major job centers for the bike system. Transit. So the remainder of our commuter rail is built out during the later years. The purple line is extended from National City south to San Ysidro and across to the cross-border terminal and ultimately to Otay Mesa. And it's branched to include a line that parallels the Blue Line trolley. The line will connect to the Central Mobility Hub. An east-west commuter rail will provide connections to El Cajon to the Central Mobility Hub and downtown San Diego with stops at SDSU's main campus, our urban communities in City Heights and Mid-City. The coaster branch line between Del Mar, that's that little kind of V that you see up there, the purple V, will extend between Del Mar and Sorrento Mesa and provide a new connection to the purple line. And this is really key because right now the coaster gets you west of I-5, and this could provide a connection east of I-5 to the heart of Sorrento Valley. So with that, I've summarized all of the different phases of our plan, and I'm going to turn it over to Colleen again.
Okay, super job, Jennifer. There's so much in this plan. I really appreciate that, Jennifer. We've gone through a bunch of information tonight about what's in the plan. If you'd like to learn more about the projects and programs for not only the central region, but the entire region, I really do encourage you to visit sdforward.com to review the draft plan. It's available in Spanish and English. There are 3 chapters of the plan. Chapter 1, so proud of the plan. Let me just show you. Here she is in all of her beautiful glory. Chapter 1 outlines the vision and goals. Chapter 2 is all about the projects and programs and policy that help us meet our goals. And Chapter 3 discusses how we will fund and deliver the projects in the plan. It's at a very high level. It's, what do we have here? 57 pages. There are literally thousands of pages of appendices that support what was developed here. So if there's something that you're really interested in, like what we did, more detail on the projects and programs, that's Appendix A. I'm looking over at the list here. If you're interested in knowing about the how our travel demand model works, then that's the model where we put all the information and you press a bunch of buttons and we find out if we meet the greenhouse gas goals or how many people will use one transit line versus another. That is in its own appendix as well, and I just lost it. Appendix S. T looks at the performance of the network. So if you're interested in particular performance measures, so all of this detail, these are all on the website and you are welcome to dig into them. And I'm just going to assume that some of you have already done that. We've had some pretty engaged folks who participated with us in these meetings that seem to have already dug in. So it's great. And we want to hear your challenging questions tonight. We want to hear your thoughts. We also have an interactive map. It's called a data viewer. And this is also available once you go to our website. You can click on different areas and these little information blurbs will come up and they'll tell you exactly, what's there today, what's proposed, when you can expect to see a proposed improvement. Let's see. So shortly, I'm going to open this up for public comment. I really encourage you to share your feedback with us tonight. If you want to take more time to kind of process the information we've shared or review all the materials online, there are multiple ways that you can do that. This is our final of the 6 virtual open houses planned. We're going to have 2 virtual public hearings with the Board of Directors and Transportation Committee in July. And I believe those are on July 16th with the Transportation Committee. And I want to say July 23rd, thank you, with the Board of Directors. So when it comes to next steps, the public comment period is open through August 6th. Later this summer, we will release the draft environmental impact report, otherwise known as the EIR. And throughout the fall, the team here at SANDAG will be reviewing all the feedback we receive, making adjustments to the plan and refining the EIR as needed. And then we will be asking the Board of Directors to adopt the plan and certify the environmental document by the end of this year. And that is a legal requirement. We cannot extend that time. If we don't meet that time, state dollars are just cut off here, and we can't have that happen. If you missed it earlier, there is another chance to scan the QR code on the screen. I feel so high tech being able to do this. Scan that with your smartphone to access more regional plan resources. So now we're going to move to the final portion of the event. This is where you can ask questions, make your comments. Some of you have made comments in the chat. We really want you to raise your hand, turn on your camera, share your comment, share your question. The team and I are happy to respond to whatever we can here tonight so that we get your questions answered or clarifications responded to. And with that, we will go from there. So anybody calling from a phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand and *9 to lower your hand. When it's your turn to comment, I will read out your name or the last 4 digits of your phone number, and then we will unmute your line so that you can speak. We're asking you all to kind of stick within 3 minutes if you can, just so we give everybody a chance to ask a question or comment. We'll have go backs if there's time within the hour we set aside here. And also some of the other meetings where folks had follow-up questions, you're more than welcome to email me with any of those comments and we can help respond to your questions as well. So, oh my gosh, we have the honorary Maria Cortez, first one to talk. And Maria, we always love to hear from you. So Maria, if we can unmute Maria, and I don't know if you have a camera, Maria, that you can turn on so we can see you.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that because normally we don't.
Okay.
So
You
how do I
just
turn that on? I'm on my smartphone, on my phone.
Gotcha. Well, you know, we know your voice. I know it's you. So share. Let's hear what you have to say, Maria.
Yes. First of all, thank you. And I just want to know about the purple line because I would like for it to go underground. This way we would be saving a lot of emissions and save a lot of time on traffic. So from what I understood with the purple line, it's supposed to be going underground, coming through City Heights, going from the border all the way to Sorrento Valley. And another one that I'm involved in is that the buses to the beach. We would love to have the buses go to the beach because a lot of our kids in the different underserved communities have never been to the beach. And it's heartbreaking when you see that and hear that. I think it's a great opportunity to have these kids going to the beach, exploring other communities outside of our communities. And also, I would like to see more buses running more frequent, having 24-hour service if possible, because there are a lot of people that go to work and they're out of luck when they go to work. But getting back to the purple line, we need the purple line here in City Heights because we are one of the highest transit users in San Diego. And to see it come through City Heights, that would be a dream come true. And Todd knows all about that and everybody else. I'm on Colleen, I want to say, as always, you have done a wonderful job, and not only just you, but everybody there at SANDAG. What a wonderful way to end the evening. So if I could have some answers, maybe I guess on my questions, that would be great.
You betcha, Maria. And Jennifer is going to be able to answer all three. And I'm so glad because I know the answers to all those questions are exactly what you want to hear. But before that, you know, Maria, I want to point this out. One of the things I appreciate about you so much is that you always think about the next generation. You think about our kids and their kids, and that really is who we are planning here. So really appreciate that about you. And I'll have Jennifer respond to Purple Line Underground, faster, more frequent service, and how we are going to get to the beach. Jennifer?
I know, Maria, thank you for asking your questions because you allow me to give you a lot of good news. So the Purple Line, as you're well aware, is going to be fully grade separated. And if I wasn't clear, all of the commuter rail that we have planned in this plan would be fully grade separated. So we don't want to get in traffic anywhere. And right now we are looking at going below grade for the Purple Line and right smack through City Heights with a station there. And for the beaches, I'm so glad you asked this question because just today I was counting the number of routes that go to the beach, and we have over 10 routes that now will provide direct access to the beach. And once the central mobility hub is in place, people coming from all over this region will have access to routes that take them directly to the beach. So that's a really great news story. For 24-hour service, we are evaluating, as I said earlier, increasing the spans of service across the system. And of course, we are looking at, you know, we've heard time and time again that you'd like 24-hour service on the Blue Line. So we're absolutely looking at that. We're trying to come up with a really good solution because right now we have the freight operating and that's causing us a little angst. So we're trying to figure it out. And I think we have a solution that we can come up with that will answer that request for 24-hour service. So thank you.
Jennifer, what does grade separation mean?
Oh, well, okay. So grade separation means that you're either above on a bridge or below in a tunnel. It means that you're not in traffic. So for instance, when we talked a little bit earlier about the light rail system getting a bunch of grade separations, right now the trolley stops at intersections, and that can cause it to slow down, and that can cause traffic to slow down, which isn't always a bad thing, but we want that trolley zooming through. And so grade separations, if we can take the trolley up and over that intersection, makes it so much faster, or below, that makes it so much faster. So does that answer your question?
It does.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks,
You bet.
Jennifer. Okay, stay handy too, Jennifer. Okay, so let's see. Is it Mohammed Haneen or Haneen Mohammed? We will unmute you, and you are welcome to ask your question or make your comment. Are you there with us, Haneen? I think I hear a voice. Is that you?
Hello.
Hello, Haneen.
Hi. I believe I have accidentally enabled the raise hand feature.
Do you want to say anything? We won't put you on the spot, but we'll give you.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, of course. So hi, everyone. My name is Haneen Mohammed from City Heights CDC. And I just wanted to express that I think SANDAG did a great job with the regional plan. And we're really excited for some of the upcoming projects, especially what it means for environmental justice communities, especially for those of us in City Heights. And we really like just seeing some of the transportation equity goals that we've been advocating for decades in the City Heights region come into fruition. We're really excited about the Purple Line serving City Heights. We think that's really going to bolster connectivity and really just connect some of our residents to job centers. So I ultimately just wanted to really express my appreciation for the SANDAG staff and that we hope to continue on this track of equity and really prioritizing the well-being of our communities, the well-being of the environment and the climate. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. And thank you, SANDAG staff, for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for speaking, Haneen. And I'll just take this opportunity to mention to everyone here that SANDAG does have a equity working group that is specifically assigned to advise on the regional plan and ensure that equity is at the forefront of this plan. That working group is chaired by City Council member Vivian Moreno. And within the next few days here, we are going to be having a discussion with the working group. And by the way, these are public meetings, so anyone here on the call is more than welcome to attend. The information about the meetings is posted on our website. They're all done virtually, so you can do this from the comfort of your home or your office. And we're really going to be talking about what's an early action that we can take when it comes to equity. We're going to be asking our SANDAG board of directors to set aside some funding here in the next couple of months so that we can start to show what this regional plan could look like and pilot some of those ideas. So thank you for your comments, Haneen. And I know that City Heights CDC is really involved in the working group and appreciate all that participation. I'm going to move now to Natasha Patton. Natasha will unmute you and we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Nastasia Patton. I'm a resident of Normal Heights in San Diego. And similar to Haneen, I just wanted to express my strong support and my gratitude for SANDAG's work on this plan and some of the issues that it addresses with regard to environmental justice and just overall quality of life improvement in the San Diego region. And so some of the highlights for me in this plan based on tonight's presentation were the grade separated routes that you just talked about to get East County folks out to the beach, the light rail and the dedicated bus lanes linking job centers like Sorrento Valley to the South Bay, and these fully connected bike routes. I can't wait to bike, from Oceanside all the way down to downtown or even to the border one day. So thank you so much for all your hard work on this, and I'm really excited to see it move forward.
Thank you for your comments, and sorry for mispronouncing your name so terribly, Nastasia. Thank you.
No problem.
With that, we're going to move to Stephen Tesler. And then after that, we'll go to Deborah Jones. And then we will go to Alex Wong, who might be the same Alex Wong that kept me on my toes on Monday night. So we'll start here with Stephen.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Beautiful. So I think a quick and easy way to facilitate traffic or trolley movement through downtown would be to give it signal priority. I lived in France for 6 years back in the 1990s, and that's just what they did. They just gave it automatic signal priority, and there you go.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Secondly, just a quick question regarding double tracking the line all the way down to, well, eventually, ideally, take the commuter rail all the way down to the border, is the existing line, extending it through Santa Fe Depot all the way in down to the border, and then taking it off the bluffs. You have to take it, that's just to anybody really looking at that situation, that's just a disaster waiting to happen. And it's not going to get cheaper by waiting to move it off the bluffs. I just wanted to see what you guys, I'm certain that's on your plate. I'd just like to know if there's anything specific that you guys have to speed that up.
Yes, so thank you for that. And is it Stephen or Stefan? Am I saying your name right?
Steve's fine.
Okay, Steve. So bluffs are a huge priority for us right now. We've been able to get a decent amount of state funding to just stabilize the bluffs, but that only lasts so long. Our immediate work right now, and we probably are about a quarter of the way through the study, would you say, Jennifer? Just like you said, we got to get the rails off the bluff. Got to get the rails off the bluff, and really to speed up that corridor, we also got to straighten that curve that goes through Miramar, the Miramar curve. So we don't have to wait for that big loop. So those are two priorities that we're looking at to get done. And then your idea to go all the way down to the border, we actually are working to really take that blue line trolley and create a type of service that would be express, because right now when you go from the border to downtown, it takes about an hour, and we need to cut that down to be about a half an hour. So anyway, all of your comments are exactly in line with our thinking. Really appreciate that. Okay. So after Steve, we're going to go to Deborah Jones and then on to Alex Wong. So Deborah.
Hi, how are you?
Very good,
Deborah. I don't know how to turn on my camera, but anyway, you know what I look like. In full disclosure, I do work for SANDAG, but just from a personal, on a personal level, living in this area and also working in this area, a couple of things that I'm wondering about as a citizen is whether ferry transportation is being considered for the plan. I've always thought it would be great to have some hovercraft ferries that go from downtown to the airport, or from downtown over to Point Loma Military Base, or from Chula Vista up to downtown or over to the airport, just as a way to use our waterways as a transportation network, and something maybe faster than what is currently used across to get to Coronado. And then I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about how sea level rise is being factored into these transportation projects, knowing what our bleak future looks like. That's something that we're obviously needing to plan for. So if we're going to have tunnels, do we have anything that stops sea level intrusion? And then lastly, because this is the topic du jour, or certainly was for the year 2020, what impact telework, or even the future of work, and what industries will look like in the future. So where are we assuming, is it being assumed in the plan that everybody's going to be commuting into an office, or will we be teleported? You know, what does Star Trek vision look like for work, and has that been factored into congestion and the way we work? Thank you.
Deborah Jones. Deborah Jones, who runs our iCommute team. Okay, so just so everyone knows here, I did not tell Deborah to call in and ask these questions. But we do have planned ferry service. I'm going to ask Jennifer to jump up and talk about that. I'll talk about the other two quickly. You know, really the sea level rise, it's all about how we engineer these projects. And if anyone's familiar with what we're doing even today on the low sand corridor, it's all about raising up the bridges so that, you know, we're addressing sea level rise. This is exactly why we need to get, as Stephen was bringing up, get the tracks off the bluffs. You know, that is very problematic. So it's really about, as we build the new infrastructure, that we're respecting sea level rise. The other aspect of climate change is making sure that we've got evacuation routes for the people in the rural areas. And so that's a big part of when we talk about improvements on the rural roadways is getting the evacuation route so that people can get out in an instance of a fire. In terms of the telework, we are making bigger assumptions about telework just because of what we learned during the pandemic. But a few statistics that I know Deborah knows, but I'll throw out for the group here. Of all the jobs in the San Diego region, about 30% of those are telecommutable. All the others are healthcare. They're things that where people have to be at that location working. So then you look at that 30%, and I'm going to just throw out something to the team. What's our assumption about the percentage of people that will be telecommuting, say by 2035? About 13%. So we think about 13%. And that is up from, you know, what was pre-pandemic, and everything we're learning from our research is that most employers are asking people to come back to work. So we're looking at, you know, of the jobs that could telecommute, that, you know, it would be 1 or 2 days, you know, every couple of weeks that someone would telecommute. And that gets us to about that 13%. And then Jennifer, tell us about the ferries, because that's really fun.
Yes, ferries are exciting. So we do have a couple of ferry projects in the plan. And really the first ferry that I'm going to talk about is a connection from Chula Vista to our military bases near 8th Street. That's a really strong commute. And then up to downtown San Diego. So that's, you know, that's probably has the highest level of potential ridership. And the other one would be to connect Chula Vista to Coronado and then ultimately downtown San Diego, kind of creating a triangle. And we are, in fact, looking at ferry levels of speed that are much higher than the existing ferry today. So those are the initial two that we have in the plan, but I'm sure that once we, you know, experience the value of those, that we'll be pursuing that as a bigger strategy in future plans. So let me know if you have any questions, Deborah.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yes, you can email Jennifer.
Yeah,
you know how to
call
get.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. We're gonna go to Alex Wong, and then on deck is Randy Torres Van Fleck, and then I've got right cow, left coast. Is that right? I don't know how to pronounce any of that, but hopefully you know who you are. So let's go to Alex.
So yes, it's Alex from Monday, and I just want to a question first of all. Now, the Mid-Coast Trolley, when it opens in November, what will the frequencies be?
Jennifer, is it 7 minutes? Do you know?
It's 7.5 minute peak.
7.5 minutes during the peak is what we've got planned.
So I think that's very good, but do you have any plans to increase the Green Line frequencies? Because it seems like with all the development happening in Mission Valley, you know, that might be a good place too.
Jennifer knows this too,
Yes,
Alex.
yes. So our goal really is to get the entire transit system on a 10-minute all-day service. But then in the peaks, we're looking at it increasing the trolley services up to 7.5 minute. And I believe, and I wish I had my plan right in front of me, that the Blue Line goes to 5. So we do have extensive improvements in overall, you know, frequencies of our light rail system.
Do you want to tell
So
what's
I think
what's
that
green?
is,
So that people know.
Yeah, let me answer that real quick. So the Blue Line is the route that goes from the border of San Diego to Old Town today. And then ultimately, when Mid-Coast opens in November, stay tuned, it will go all the way up to University City, and with a stop at UTC at the very end of the line. So that's the Blue Line. The Green Line travels through Mission Valley, connecting, I want to say it's El Cajon, or it might be Santee, I apologize. And it comes all the way through the center of Mission Valley into Old Town and downtown San Diego. So it's it's one of the connections that provides access through the center of San Diego. And I'm sorry, what were you saying about the Orange Line?
Oh, well, not the Orange Line in particular, but rather I was thinking about this line through kind of mid-city and yes, Hillcrest, right? I see it on your map. That it will be built as commuter rail, but I'm thinking that maybe it could be built as a trolley instead, or even because I think it would be better if people could walk to their neighborhood stops instead of having to take a bus or ride share to a bigger station. And also, I wonder if you've ever considered on any of these new lines that you're going to build that maybe you build something like the Vancouver SkyTrain, the Montreal REM, something that's fully automated. You can run them up to 2 minutes, 2 minutes per train at peak hour, and then they could be the operational cost could be very low because 70% of operational costs are from drivers.
Yep. And I'm glad you raised that, because our new line that will connect the Central Mobility Hub to the airport, that's our new transit connection. We are planning on that operating at every 2-minute headways throughout the day. So, and that's part of the capability that we're looking at for our system. We're not going to start out at 2 minutes on our bigger commuter rail service, but we'll be evaluating technology throughout the advanced planning of these services to make sure that we're using the most up-to-date and current technology. And if that includes automation, then certainly that'll be included in our analysis. So I really appreciate your comments.
Yeah, and just to add, Alex, I think we've talked about this, that the regional plan is a big picture blueprint, and further studies have to be done on all of this. So I'm just going to call it Maria's purple line. So we're looking at that whole line. And right now we think we know where the stations are going to go, but this is at a really high level. That gets further refined. We're calling it commuter rail now. When we do the further studies, I don't want to say it would be a trolley, but that's a possibility, or we find out some other kind of automated system that's available that could make that work. Those things happen further down in the planning. But that, just to kind of give you a sense of the level of planning we're doing right now, is very high level, very regional.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to jump back in. Excuse me, but I just want to make a correction. I did take a look real quickly, and the blue line and all the rail routes go to 7.5 minutes all day. So I didn't want anybody to think that we were at 5 minutes on the blue line. Everything goes to 7.5. So I want to make that clarification.
Good. Thank you, Jennifer. We are all about being transparent and accurate. So if anybody catches us on anything, let us know, because we want to make sure we're being correct here. Randy, we're going to unmute you. What do you have to say, Randy?
Hey, Colleen, how's it going?
Good.
Thanks for hosting this. Good evening, Central San Diego. And my name is Randy Torres Van Vleck, Director of Policy and Planning at the City Heights CDC. Really excited for the opportunity that the 5 Big Moves creates to transform our regional transportation system in a way that improves quality of life. Congrats to staff on the release of the regional plan draft. And I really appreciate that staff has allowed like a live dialogue here between the agency and the public. I think that's really important. So thanks for taking our questions on the fly. That's awesome. Again, yeah, there's a lot to analyze in this 2,000-page document through both the San Diego Transportation Equity Working Group and the City Heights Built Environment Team. We've been collectively analyzing the plan. So here are just some of the takeaways and some of the things we like and some of the things we hope to see improvements on. So we're very excited about the Purple Line commuter rail, also known as Maria's Purple Line. That's going to connect South Bay, Southeast, City Heights, Mission Valley, Sorrento Valley. I'm really excited for that route. That's going to be really critical improvement. Expanding the rapid network is going to be key, and making those near-term investments to increase transit frequencies is going to be important. And as part of those local investments in the transit system, we believe it's important to look at 24-hour transit. Late night and 24-hour transit was ranked as the highest, most supported public improvement during MTS's Elevate San Diego outreach process. The third track for the Blue Line that will allow 24-hour service, greater frequencies, eliminate that conflict between freight and transit, and allow for express service is going to be important as well. We want to see enhancements maybe through the mobility hub process that allow for dignified transit riding experience, specifically bathrooms, because that's something that we don't really have a plan for here in SD. I think we could do a lot better at. The youth opportunity passes and free transit scenarios is going to be important. That's something that residents in Mid-City have supported for a long time. And we're supportive of converting general purpose lanes on freeways into better uses. So we appreciate that the plan calls for that. As you recall, Colleen, 2015, we helped secure that analysis for the 94 freeway. But through that work, residents identified expressed concerns with adding more lanes that would increase vehicle miles traveled on the 94 and 805. So we have some questions about those new managed lanes. Love to get more about that. And then the equitable coastal access, as Maria pointed out, is something that's important. The beach and coast should be enjoyed by everyone, not just those who can afford to live nearby the coast or afford to own a car. And then finally, we just have general questions about the phasing of the projects. That's something that is very just like personal to City Heights residents, is we've waited decades for active transportation transit improvements. So what are we going to do? The question is, what are we going to do differently in these next 15 years compared to what we've done these past 15 years to get projects, transformative ones, built more quickly? Looking forward to these, some of these answers and working with y'all on getting the 5 big moves approved. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Randy. And I'm just going to address a few of the things that you brought up that I think are super important and worth noting. And I'm going to go with your last comment about the phasing and how we get some of these things done that we've all been waiting for. Ultimately, it is the voters of the San Diego region that are going to decide if they want to buy this plan. And so at some point in the next year or 2 years, there will very likely be something on the ballot for consideration. So that's the first thing I wanted to mention. And that would not be the only funding source. A new sales tax measure, for example, would allow us to leverage state and federal dollars. And anyone who's been following work that SANDAG has been doing, on average, for every dollar we raise in the San Diego region, we're usually able to get $2.50 in return from state and federal programs. So that's a start. We also have laid out a number of other funding strategies, because it's not just a sales tax measure that's going to get us there. So I want to share that with you. The other thing that the team is working on right now, if you've had a chance to look at the 2 appendices U and V, that's how we fund the plan, and that's the phasing of the projects in the plan, and some of the phasing of the projects in the plan is also in Appendix A. We're working to really align that and get more refinement on things. It's really important to keep in mind, again, as I mentioned earlier, this is really a big picture blueprint. There's a lot of additional work that needs to get done to really refine that phasing, but we're at least going to lay out a more detailed phasing program as we develop the final. So I wanted to make sure you are aware of that. All the other things you brought up, youth passes, that's in the plan. We want to see if there's something we can do sooner than later on that, even through the social equity working group. Bathrooms, something we've been talking with MTS about, the 24-hour service. Definitely, these are all really important aspects, and we hope to pilot some of these things sooner than later to see how they really can work on the ground and allow us an opportunity to test it out in certain areas to then look at a broader application. So blue line, the additional track, critical to speeding up that service to getting into downtown. So thank you, Randy. We look forward to working with you. We appreciate you and your team doing the detailed review, asking the tough questions, because we need to make sure we get this right. So thank you for that. Okay, and now I'm going to go to right cow, left coast. Do I have that right? And my apologies.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to let me speak. You do have it correct, right cow, left coast. It's my username on Wikipedia. I'm actually with the local Wikimedia Foundation affiliate, San Diego Wikimedians User Group. Again, thank you for the opportunity for letting me speak. I have a couple of questions regarding the topic that you have presented today. Actually, 4 here. As you may know, the Navy plans to shift 60% of the overall fleet to the Pacific. which will include basing ships and units here in San Diego, as it is home to the Third Fleet. Has San Diego factored that population growth into its planning? Then my next question. Many individuals who work within the County of San Diego commute from Riverside County and a few from Imperial County. How has SANDAG worked with our neighboring counties to increase transit interoperability? Next, many persons commute from our international neighbor to the south, Mexico. How has SANDAG worked with federal authorities to ease the commute to our coworkers who live in Mexico? And lastly, though this might be outside the presentation's purview, do you have any information about rail connectivity of San Diego to Baja California and Imperial County, to include the historic Goat Canyon Rail Bridge in Carrizo Gorge? Thank you very much for taking the time to answer these questions.
Yeah, great questions. First of all, what I want to say is that we have been working very closely with the U.S. Department of Defense, and we ask them to provide us information on their anticipated growth, and that goes into what we call our regional growth forecast. So to the extent that our friends at the Navy are able to provide us that information, we include that in our population projections and in our projections about job growth. So excellent question. The Navy is such an important partner here in the region, big part of our economic engine. And so we do work closely with them to make sure that, we have the latest information from them. When it comes to Imperial and Riverside, we do work with the neighboring counties to look at what that cross-border transportation, what's happening. We do multiple surveys. We're always looking for ways to sort of, look at travel options there. I think probably the best way to do that is through the connections of our managed lanes. I don't know if there's anything in particular, Jennifer, that you want to point out about any of that. And before Jennifer responds to that, I just wanted to talk about Mexico and what an important partner Mexico is. So there's a couple of things there. I think many people are probably aware that we're working on a third border crossing known as Otay Mesa East to really help facilitate movement of goods that would connect to a toll road, but that could take a lot of the pressure off the other border crossings, especially for the commercial uses. I had the opportunity last week to meet with the mayor of Tijuana, and she really wants to talk about how do we really put together some way of a cross-border train. And so I think, there's some movement there where we could really talk about something meaningful along those lines. So I don't know, Elisa, if you want to chime in on any of the cross-border stuff, that stuff inside and out. But Jennifer, if you want to first just respond to kind of any connections we're making to Riverside and Imperial. And then, okay, Elisa, I'm going to have you say this after she finishes. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Well, so for RCTC, or Riverside Transit Authority, we have worked closely with them. And, when we first started this plan way back, when we first looked at it, we actually drew connections and big circles around Orange County, Riverside County, the border, and Imperial County, and, further east towards, as you're heading into Arizona. Because we know that these connections are really important, and San Diego isn't landlocked. We are dealing a lot with our neighbors in each area. So the plan currently has a lot of connections in Escondido, and then there is plans in the future to extend our routes up to potentially Temecula to coordinate with RCTC. But in the plan is high-speed rail, and high-speed rail connects our Inland Empire along Riverside County, across the center of our region, and down into downtown San Diego. So that's really the route that we see as the fastest connection from those Inland Empire areas over to our downtown San Diego area. Elisa, do you want to come up and talk about Losan and our connections?
Hello, everyone. Elisa Arias, I'm a planner here at SANDAG also. And related to Orange County, we work with our neighbors to the north. And we have, today, we have transit service Metrolink that stops at the Oceanside Transit Center. And we also, have the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner that serves both Orange County, Los Angeles, and our region. So, but it's something that, we're always looking at ways to align all the transportation between Orange County and our San Diego region, and also with Imperial County and Riverside, as Jennifer was explaining.
And just real quickly, thank you for that, Elisa. And I wanted to mention on Losan too, that part of what we're looking at is creating an interconnected rail service. So the Metrolink trains could come all the way down and operate through the Losan corridor, and we can provide those direct connections. So that is part of the state rail plan. That's part of SANDAG's plan, and that's part of why we're doing those improvements on the coaster or the Losan corridor. So I just wanted to throw that out there for you.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Thank you to Mayor Gloria for your commitment with you and your team. And I just want to let everyone know that we are here to answer your questions. Appreciate all the thoughtful questions, appreciate the thoughtful input, and look forward to working with all of you to make this plan a reality. So have a wonderful evening. Take care.